All right, here we go. This is the San Rafael Sunset Crit, the Elite 3-4 field. Really big field out here today. We had 100 riders signed up ahead of time and a small wait list. So people are pretty excited about this race. It takes place in the heart of downtown San Rafael. It's a pretty simple course on paper, 4-corner crit, small riser right here. And we'll go through and just take a quick lap. And I say quick because it was quick from the very start today. More on that in a second. But we go up that riser, head down, through turn 2, down this straightaway. And there was a headwind on this straightaway for the first half of the race at least. And when I pre-rode the course, I noticed there was a headwind. So this was an area that I needed, like when I was looking at the course, I said, I need to be on a wheel on that straightaway. You head into turn 3 here. You can cruise through that, no brakes, no big deal. A couple potholes. And then turn 4 is more of kind of a screamer down into this corner. Oh man, there it goes. That might have been the first time that guy took that corner at speed, and it showed. The field was very fast today, right from the get-go. We're doing 30 miles an hour down the straightaways through lap 1. A couple of big teams out here today. Alto Velo really brought the heat. They stacked the field with 8 riders. They had a couple of kind of really monster threshold FTP guys on the front that I knew they were going to come out and make it hard. I didn't know they were going to make it this hard. They went out and they executed very well, I would say, today in this race. I would tell you all about what they were doing up there, but spoiler alert, my video is only 22 minutes long. This is a 40-minute crit. I didn't even make it. I lined up about 80th going into the starting line, and I basically was trying to keep from being snapped off the elastic every lap until I was snapped off the elastic. And here it is, like right here, look at this gap. This is just one of like 8 to 12 gaps that I was closing down from the first lap. So this race was super fast, super hard, and it never got chill while I was in the race. It never slowed down. It never was like, this is fine. We're settling in fine. We shelled everyone that's going to be out of the race. At least not while I was in it. Of course, there was the final field that stayed in, but it was tough. You can see my heart rate's up at 176. This is like a big threshold. Like I'm riding above threshold right now. There's no doubt. So everyone's settling in still right now. We're on the second lap. I've got one of the Alto guys in front of me at the moment. He has 3 or 4 teammates on the front doing their thing, just pulling along at 30 miles an hour and blowing this field apart every single lap. We lost like 8 to 10 riders, it felt like, for the first 10 minutes. Things really start falling apart here. And the field's moving quick. So let's take a look. Yeah, so on this hill, everyone's going all out, and I'm having to attack on some of these hills just to close these gaps that are opening up. I would rather be sag climbing these and hanging back and maybe making up spots elsewhere, but there was no time for that, not here. If I don't close this gap down or try to get on one of these wheels, if I'm not there, I'm out of the race now. And we're 4 minutes in. We're 4 or 5 minutes into this race, and like I'm having to make efforts, and everyone behind me is having to make efforts that result in either like being in with the pack or just spat out the pack. So you coming down this corner, you hit the straightaway, boom, oh man, massive gap opens, and someone has to close it down, or the race is over. And this just continues onward. So Alto and Mike's fly by me. This guy comes on around. And we do it all over again. And this is kind of the story of 1,000 paper cuts, just repeated closing of gaps. There's another. There goes one guy. Probably he's out. We're on lap 4. People are just like, I'm done. So yeah, here's another gap down the straightaway. This is when I was hoping to be resting a little bit, grab a wheel and rest. Yeah, not really great. So far as teammates go, I'm riding with Dolce Vita. I have one other teammate in the race, Ringo. Ringo is up ahead at the moment. He's riding really well, super strong. He was able to kind of work his way toward the front, not the front of the group, but the front of the main bubble, we'll call it, that is trucking along. I'm at the tail end of the bubble, the tail end of the elastic right now, and just trying to find a spot where I can work my way up and pick off a few wheels here and there and just keep doing that. None the least because if one of these wheels drops and there's a big gap, then I'm gone too, but also just trying to continually move forward where possible. So here's one of the Fat Cake guys. Rolls through, hop onto the wheel. This is good. I'm at least in the draft this time. But I look ahead and there is a gap there, which fortunately he's closing down. And now he's latering me, actually. But I'm at 180 beats per minute. We're 6-7 minutes into this race. And I know I'm in trouble at this point. Like, if it doesn't slow down at all, there's no coming back in. So yeah, we'll just watch me die slowly here. What else? It felt reasonably warm, I'll say. In San Rafael, us Bay Area riders, even something in the mid 70s kind of feels hot for us. If we go out of the Bay, right, we have almost no heat acclimation unless we go south and deliberately ride south to get some of that heat, that 80, high 70s, 80s. So the heat did play maybe a little bit of a factor today for some of the riders who are from San Francisco proper, like myself, or just from colder regions in general. What else? Yeah, so I got my teammate Ringo. He's actually just come into view right now. He's up ahead. I see him, and he's a really strong rider and a really strong Cat 4. And I trust him, and we've ridden together, so seeing a familiar wheel and being able to hop on that wheel and just focus on driving the bike forward for a bit was really nice and kind of assured me like, hey, maybe I'll be able to stick in here and get through this thing. Let's see, some quartering here. Yeah, people were cutting that one all day. They were riding over the yellow parts and over the curb to cut the corner. Really interesting, sketchy line. Don't know that I would I never even personally, I didn't bother with that really. So I saw people doing it though and thought it was a little funky. This corner right here, these two corners, turn 3 and 4, were easily my favorite of the day, and actually probably the one area that I was able to excel in the sense that I could roll through there with no brakes, no problem, and was able to kind of slingshot my way back into the group if I was a little bit off the back or there was a couple bike lengths opened up. I could just roll through the outside of that corner and suck back up to the group for free, quote unquote for free, without having to pedal too hard. But yeah, lots of strong wheels in this group, lots of strong riders. As like, I would say like a pretty competitive Cat 4, I knew that I was a bit undergunned fitness wise here. I knew going in that there are strong threes that even maybe are looking to go to 2 or 1, the two field. And so going in, I knew like fitness wise, I was going to need to race very smart and very well to have any chance of sticking in with the front group. And unfortunately, I never even really got to exercise a whole lot of racecraft or advanced racecraft. It was just hang on for dear life. Lap 1, lap 2, you get to the start line early, but 15 minutes early, 20 minutes early, and I was on the left-hand side of the start line. I ended up 80th, lining up 80th in this race. So I had a lot of work to do just from the moment that the gun went off, and I did as much as I could until I couldn't, until there was just nothing left. So you're going to start to see riders getting really shelled off. It's 11 minutes in. There's riders off to the left and the right, both just everywhere. There's another one off to the left. It's just, people are just peeling off. The field's been broken apart and obliterated probably 5 to 6 times now. I think the final group of people that actually finished, out of the 100 that started, there was about 30. So 70 people just got absolutely shelled out the back, dropped off, and that was it. At some point during the race, some happened earlier, some happened later. Also, right at the end of this race, unfortunately, there was a crash on the backside between turns 3 and 4 that did result in a couple of neutral laps and then a full race stoppage for a good amount of time. I'd say the race was probably paused for about 20 minutes while that rider was being attended to by the medical staff, which is present, so that made for an interesting restart in the sense that the race it's a 40-minute crit, and when the race was neutralized, it was going to be the bell lap, or it was the bell lap. If I remember correctly, it was either the bell lap or going to be the bell lap when they had to neutralize it. So they actually restarted the race and put in 4 more laps so that it wasn't a single lap of complete chaos. And to the group's credit, they got underway again after 20 or more minutes of waiting, and you're getting cold on the line, I'm sure. And they got through those last 4 laps pretty safely, it seemed, and no additional crashes occurred. So that was good to see, and you never like to see anyone go down, but it gets especially nervous when you have to restart so close to the end of the race, and now everyone's feeling pretty good, and now they're going to come out and really smash it from the gun again on a shortened timeline. That's never it's never comforting either. All right, so back in here, I'm at 183. This is like maximum red. Like this is I'm dying. And the guy up here on the Mike Spikes jersey, he's doing the head bob. I'm probably doing the head bob too. Right? We're all riding on the limit. Well, I'm riding on the limit, and it seems like some of the people around me are as well. And we're just trying to hang in there the best that we can. And I wasn't getting the recovery that I wanted anyway. I would get down to 175 coming through turn 4 with no brakes, and then here we are doing 31 miles an hour on this little straightaway, and I'm at 180 heading into the hill on the heart rate. I don't have my power meter on this bike. I rode my aluminum bike today, so there's no power. With a 100-person field, I felt like the aluminum bike was the easy choice to make in the event that you go down. Hopefully you're not paying for a new bike just straight out the gate. So yeah, here I am looking ahead, watching this gap, and looking at my heart rate at 181 down the straightaway into a little headwind, not making up a lot of time. But here does come turn 4, and everyone slows down, so I can just sweep right in, just roll through it, no brakes, and kind of tuck right in. And that was like the saving grace. If I wasn't able to do that there a couple laps in a row, I'm probably just out the back earlier and gone. What else? Shout out to Ringo, who made it to the end of this race and raced very well. He kind of looked at the power for the first 20 minutes, and he said that he was cranking away at like 4.5 watts per kilo for the first 20 minutes of this race, which is kind of insane. He's on the lighter side, but he wasn't leading at all. He was drafting the whole time, and like in the group doing 4.5 watts per kilo just to stay on. So it was a difficult day out there. What else? This is right about when I thought I kind of had made it to the promised land, actually. I was looking around at the group, and I thought I maybe had made it to the main peloton, or the main blob, right about here. This is like, oh, well, this is the main group, and now I'm going to sit in. Like, I want to sit in and see if I can recover it all in this main group and try to relax, because I looked up ahead and go, oh, well, I can finally see the front of the race. This is good. But it never really felt like it let up. It was close. I'm behind this guy on Mike's bikes again. He was doing the head bob, and I'm doing the same thing, just redlined, looking down at my head unit every now and then, hoping to see a lower number in my heart rate, but not getting it. And yeah, I know there's there was a little lock up there from one of the Alto guys. It looks like he had a good save there, and he kept charging on. Little gap probably opened up after that. Now I get hooked onto the back of Kalen's wheel. Kalen's a super strong rider with Fat Cake. Ridden a couple races with him. He does a great job carrying his speed through these corners, and he actually is a great rider and a wheel that I trust. So I can sit on the back of here, know that I'm going to get a decent draft, know that he understands how racing works and how gaps work, and if he lets one open up, he knows that he's going to be in trouble himself. So I'm trying to get some respite here, but yeah, I'm down to 178. That's my rest. And again, I decide, okay, like, let the gap open up a little bit. Here comes Ringo, and I swing to the outside. Should get the line it's all right, but a little gap opening up now. I see that, and also see the impetus from Kalen that it needs to get shut down. So I trust that he will do that and sit on the back of his wheel. At this point, I've been hovering at 178 BPMs for about 20 minutes. And I do wish I had power in this race just to have a little bit more insight as to what the averages were or what the normalized was. Because it felt blistering from the start. Like my legs, my lungs, my heart, everything was just in pain. And I'm just trying to keep a straight and level head to make good decisions even here while on the track, right? When you're putting out that much effort, it's easy to make poor decisions. So rolling through, and I look up. I don't know this SKBC rider here. But I'm looking forward, and I'm seeing the front of the peloton. It's getting strung out again. They're already in that next corner, and I'm coming through the finish line. And I can feel that I am getting close to the end of my rope here. I can tell that I don't have a whole lot left in me. I'm hoping that the pack slows down, right? I'm hoping that there's some games that gets played at the front. Maybe, yeah, who knows? Like, just needs something to happen that allows us to get slightly less strung out. But as far as I'm concerned, Alto Velo, some of the Mike Spice guys, maybe some of the Swift people they're just drilling it on the front, and there's nothing that can be done. And right here, I see more gaps opening up. The San Jose rider got dropped off, and this is kind of it. I look at the gap, it's like 10 bike lengths or more. He got dropped off. I didn't catch it early enough just to sprint past and go for it. I didn't know we were all getting dropped off, and head up this hill, and I just blow up. I look at it, I go, I can't do another 10 wheel. I can't bridge another 10 wheel gap. That's the end of my day. I pause the Garmin, just try to take a breath. The motor rolls up next to me. I think he thought I might have been having like a medical issue or something like that. I had to tell him like twice. I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm done. This is the end of my day. Overall felt fine with the effort. When I looked around and saw who around me was getting shelled off the back and how strong of a rider many of those, the people that I ride with week in and week out were getting shelled out the back before I did. When I looked at that, I thought, okay, this is a good effort. I have no regrets other than lining up 80th. Maybe I could have stuck in there a little bit longer, and maybe I could have not been bridging gaps left and right the entire time. So yeah, that's my experience at San Rafael. It was super fast. It was super hard. I didn't really get to play at the front, and I pulled into the pit here just to gather myself for a moment and try to relax and see how I feel. Here comes Mike. Mike is a hero. He hands me a beer. I'm still on the course, and he's like, "Hey man, here's your beer. Here's a beer. Have a sip." What an amazing guy.